not the biggest film update from me. This is, I don't know what you call it. It's a sort of update, movie update. I have moved away from the desk, and I am here now. This is me, yo. So, hi everyone. My name's Pete, aka Pedro. This is Pedro's movie cavern, sort of. It's not really a cavern. It's more of a rather large bedroom. But moved from the desk over to here, which is sort of my movie corner. A lot of the films are still in storage, but this is quite a big chunk of them. And then I've got some more stuff here. These are mainly TV box sets and limited editions. So I've got things like the Demolition Man collection. I say Demolition Man collection. I've got the Demolition Man 4K. I've got my Arrow hard box. I've got a couple of second sights. I've got my 4K not Dawn of the Dead. My 4K Mad Max movies, and then this big pile here is stuff that has been recently purchased, I guess. And yeah, so I've got a bit of an update. It's not a big update, but I thought I'd just do an update video for you. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I've forgotten that I might not have shown in the last video, but I can't find anything. So, first of all, I'm gonna kick this off with a look at physical media, but it's a different sort of physical media. It's music, basically. As you probably know, I'm a big fan of movie scores, like film scores and movie soundtracks and stuff. Like I've got Rocky IV and the Indiana Jones, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, John Williams score framed on my wall, the LPs. I also have, if I can get them out, I've also got my my vinyls. So we've got like Batman and Roadhouse. What else is there? Battlestar Galactica, the John Williams E.T. score, which is really good, and Cocoon 2, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I believe this is the Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan original motion picture score by James Horner, and then I've got the score for Extreme Prejudice by Jerry Goldsmith. So yeah, I'm a big fan of movie scores, like film scores. So when I was in HMV a couple of weeks ago, I came across, I went in looking for Blu-rays, but I was also looking for some movie scores, because movie scores are really, really, really hard to get hold of. They're really expensive. But this was on offer. And it was, I think it was $5.99. Now, I've got some of these tracks on a compilation CD, but I don't have the full soundtrack. Now, I would love to get this on vinyl, but vinyl is almost as priced out as Blu-rays are these days. Like, especially with 4Ks, they're ridiculously expensive. So I was like, for CD, and obviously it's going to be CD quality, it's going to be remastered and everything, and this is it's the 20th anniversary, so this was probably released in 1999, because the film came out in 1979, but is the original motion picture score for Star Trek The Motion Picture by Jerry Goldsmith, which is a fantastic score. This is quite well known because it used the theme. The theme was repurposed 8 years later for... Was it 8 years later? When was Next Gen? So the theme was sort of repurposed and rejigged to become the theme for Star Trek The Next Generation, which... if you've watched Star Trek: The Next Gen, you know the score. You know the score. You know the theme. it holds a sort of special place in my heart as well, because it was the music that we chose for my mum's funeral, for when she was cremated. She always said she wanted to go. She wanted to be cremated to the theme from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was her favourite TV show. She loved Jean-Luc Picard, and yeah, so we used that music, and it was great. Sorry to be a bit of a downer, but it was fantastic to see that to hear that music that my mum wanted at her funeral, which is great. But yeah, so this is such a fantastic score. This and James Horner's follow-up to Wrath of Khan is phenomenal. But Jerry Goldsmith did some really good, really hard to find scores in the 1980s. He obviously did the score for Rambo. I say Rambo, the First Blood, because the film's not called Rambo First Blood, it's just called First Blood. But he also did this, which was obviously 1979. But he also did the score to a film called Explorers, which was a film directed by Joe Dante. It's about a bunch of kids who they build a spacecraft and they go off. They name the craft Thunder Road. Great movie. First film starring Ethan Hawke. It also had River Phoenix and James Cromwell was in it. Robert Picardo. What's his name? Dick. I've gone blank now. But yeah, great movie. Great 80s, like, kids sci-fi movie. And that has such a wonderful, like, original soundtrack. And it sucks that it's really hard to get hold of, because it is fantastic. It was another, like, huge... The 80s for me was, like, the best decade for original scores, because you had some of the best composers. Like John Williams came into his own in... obviously the late 70s, but mostly into the 80s with the stuff that he did with like Indiana Jones and the scores for Return of the Jedi, and what else was there that he did? E.T., which is one of my favourite, if not my favourite score of all time. Just amazing. And then James Horner with Battle Beyond the Stars, Wrath of Khan, Krull, Cocoon, just some incredible scores. But one of my favourite composers, which is really hard to find his stuff, is Bruce Broughton. And Bruce Broughton did some cracking like soundtracks. He did the Young Sherlock Holmes soundtrack, which again is fantastic. But the one that I really, really want to get hold of, but it's massively out of print and really, really expensive. Even if you look on something like Discogs, you'll see that it might be affordable for the product, but the shipping is astronomical. And that is the score for The Boy Who Could Fly. A film written and directed by Nick Castle, who I am wearing a t-shirt of another film that Nick Castle directed called The Last Starfighter. Now, I've talked about Last Starfighter many, many times, but The Boy Who Could Fly has such a great, underappreciated original score by Bruce Broughton, and that's one that I really want to get. So yeah, so the first item that I wanted to show was not necessarily a Blu-ray or a DVD or a 4K, but it's still connected to physical media and film, being the Star Trek the Motion Picture soundtrack. So now on to the actual physical media movies and stuff. So the first are, like, I don't generally buy DVDs anymore, but when something is not technically available on Blu-ray, or is available on Blu-ray, but I'm just not going to spend the money on it because it's too high, too expensive, I will always go for a DVD, especially when it comes to TV shows. Now, I know that Only Fools and Horses has had a release on Blu-ray, but it's only had the specials. It hasn't had the series. But I didn't buy the specials on Blu-ray because they're perfectly good on DVD for me. I'm not going to spend more money out on something that's not really going to make a huge difference if I play the DVD through a PlayStation 4, which is going to upscale it anyway. So, the first thing that I bought DVD-wise is Men Behaving Badly 6-pack. This is the complete series collection, which is all 6 seasons or series of Men Behaving Badly, which started in 1992, I think it was, 91 or 92, on ITV. And it starred Martin Clunes and Harry Enfield, because it was originally envisioned as a vehicle for Harry Enfield. So that lasted like 6 episodes. So the first season was 6 episodes. It was made on ITV. And at the end of the series, Harry Enfield did not want to do the show anymore. He didn't feel comfortable acting. Since then, obviously, he's appeared in shows and stuff like that as an actor, and he's done acting. So they didn't really know what to do. Do they cancel the show or not? But ITV decided to recast the roommate of to replace Harry Enfield, but not to recast the character. So they came up with a completely different character. Harry Enfield's character was called Dermot. Dermot was it just didn't work, and I can understand ITV thinking maybe they should cancel it, but they didn't. They recast, or they wrote out Dermot's character, and they introduced us to Neil Morrissey's Tony, and Tony would then follow through each series from series 2 up until the last 3 episodes, which is called the Last Orders trilogy. And Tony works a lot better than Dermot did as a character. There is a better sort of chemistry between Neil Morrissey and Martin Clunes, as opposed to Harry Enfield and Martin Clunes. That's my stomach rumbling. But at the end of series 2, ITV didn't want to do it anymore. They couldn't justify making the show anymore, because I don't think the viewing figures were quite high enough for series 2. So the producer, by the name of Beryl Virtue, decided to take it to BBC. And it's very unusual for a producer to take a TV show that's already 2 series in to a rival company like BBC. But BBC decided to take it on. They must have seen some potential there, and they commissioned a 3rd series. But because it was on BBC, and the show was called Men Behaving Badly, and it was about lad culture and all that stuff in the 90s and everything. So the BBC decided to put it on later in the day, or in the evening, so around about 9 o'clock, which meant they were allowed to get away with a lot more stuff. So they could swear a bit more, they could be a bit more gross out, and I think that's where the show kind of really took off, was when it moved to a later slot on BBC, so you didn't have to worry about what they call them, ad breaks. So now that it's on BBC, it starts to take off and it becomes really, really popular, and it lasted another 4 series. So series 3 to series 6. Yeah, so it'd be another 4 series, because it was 6 in total. During that period, they had a Christmas special. And the Christmas special was called Jingle Balls. And it's only 45 minutes long. Well, it says 63 minutes long. But unless there are more scenes on this that weren't screened on BBC. And this is absolutely stupid and what you expect from an extended episode of Men Behaving Badly. But Men Behaving Badly is, like, for me, I grew up in the 90s watching stuff like The Fast Show and Bottom and Blackadder. But then we also had the tail end of things like Allo Allo and Only Fools and Horses and Red Dwarf as well. It's another great British BBC comedy show. So growing up in the 90s, having my teens in the 90s, Men Behaving Badly really appealed to me more than some other shows. And it's a show that I've always loved, and it's a show that I've watched, I suppose, consistently since it ended in 1998. And it ended with this, which is the Last Orders trilogy. And it is basically, it says the last 3 feature-length episodes. They're not feature-length, they're 43. Feature-length with anything over 60 minutes, I think it is. And this has the episode's performance, Gary in love, and delivery. And it wraps up the series in a nice little bow, and it just makes everything that you've watched, all the like story strands of Gary and Dorothy and Tony and Deborah, kind of all get wrapped up perfectly in the last 3 episodes. So that's everything Men Behaving Badly, I guess, that's been released. It has had a Blu-ray release recently, but it's overpriced. I say it's overpriced. It's about 45 quid, which I suppose for a Blu-ray TV show that includes everything that was released is pretty good. But like I said, if I just play it through a PlayStation and upscale it, it looks perfect. There's no reason to upgrade it. So then I picked up some Blu-rays today. I went shopping. I went to HMV, and I picked up a couple of Blu-rays. Nothing that exciting. There was 2 for 5 or 2 for 15 quid on the Indicator releases. They've still got the 2 for 15 deal on the, what do they call them, Studio Canal releases. But I can't remember if I showed the Studio Canal releases in the last video. I think I did. So I picked up Crime Wave, which is the second film, or I think it's the second film. It's the follow-up to Evil Dead. Sam Raimi directed this after Evil Dead. And I think it was, because it was released the same year as Evil Dead 2, which is 85? No, when was Evil Dead 2? 87? I can't be asked going through it. 1987, I think Evil Dead 2 came out. So this was 1985. I've never seen this, but I know that it flopped massively. It was a big flop for Sam Raimi, but it was written by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, and Sam Raimi as well. But it also, I don't really know much about it, so I thought I'll give it a blast. It's 2 for 15. It's £7.50. If it's crap, it's crap. It's not a huge loss, if you know what I mean. So there we are. That's Crime Wave, part of number 214 in the Indicator catalogue. I don't know if you can see, but my Indicator stuff is now all kind of mixed in. So I've got to sort all that out. I mean, I've got all the Arrow stuff. So yeah, it's Crime Wave. And then another film that I've never seen, and a Ridley Scott film from 1987. It's called Someone to Watch Over Me, which I believe is a sort of neo-noir crime thriller. A neo-noir crime thriller starring Tom Berenger and Mimi Rogers. And I think people kind of only, when they think of Ridley Scott, they only really think of Alien and Blade Runner, even though, and Gladiator as well. Even though he made tons of movies, one such awesome film, if I can find it, and which is massively, and I say that, massively underrated, is that Black Rain with Michael Douglas and Andy Garcia. Incredible film. So, looking forward to seeing this because I quite like mid-80s Ridley Scott flicks. So, again, like I said, 2 for 15. It's not bad. It's a good pickup. Then this one is to join the wonders of the HMV Premium Collection, and it was on offer at $7.49 when you buy any other video or any other full price Blu-ray, or with any purchase, I think it was. And it is Escape to Victory, starring Michael Caine, Pele, the Brazilian football player, and Sylvester Stallone. I quite like this film. I think it's fun. It's not a great movie at all, but it's a fun World War II football film. I'm not a football fan, but when it's got Sylvester Stallone playing a goalie, I'm all for it. So yeah, $7.49. I've seen this multiple times. I've got it on DVD. Now I've got it on high definition and in this swanky Premium Collection Edition, which I think, what number is that? That is number 143. None of these are in numerical order, they're all in alphabetical order. So Escape to Victory. Yeah, good World War II escape movie plus football movie, I guess. Then we have a film that I have seen this many times. I have seen the sequel many times. I haven't seen the threequel yet because he kind of lost it for a while. But I also love the characters that are in this that went on to other movies, Jay and Silent Bob. And it's Clerks. Now, I will show you something. I will grab it now. This is the Blu-ray of Clerks. Bear in mind, this film was shot on 16mm film for no money. This is a Blu-ray, so I'm intrigued to see how this cleans up. This is Clerks X, which is the limited edition, the special edition, sorry, the 2-disc version, which has a load of special features on... Oh, it has 2 cuts, sorry. It has 2 cuts. It has the theatrical version and Clerks, the first cut. All new audio. Oh, disc 3 as well. Snowball Effect, the story of Clerks. So I'm intrigued to see how this looks, because this has got both on here as well. So this has got the theatrical version and the first cut version. Now, I remember what I didn't show in the previous video is my other recent Kevin Smith pickup. So this is Clerks. This was $7.99 from HMV. I thought about time I upgraded my Clerks, if you know what I mean. But my brother came home from work the other day and he gave me that, which is the 4K of Mallrats. This is the... He gave me this, which is the 4K of Mallrats. Now, if you watch this channel, you know the difference between Region A, Region B releases. This is the US Region A Blu-ray release, but also the 4K. So because it's 4K, it's region 3. And the interesting thing about this is that not only is the 4K region 3, I got it for free because it didn't cost anything. See, my brother works in CEX. They are not allowed to take in stuff that is from a separate region. So they can only take stuff that is released in the UK. So as long as it's region B or has the BBFC certificate on it, they can take it. This they can't. This was going to go in the bin. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Apart from maybe that should be black. But other than that, it's in perfect condition. Like perfect condition. And they were going to bin it. So my brother was just like, well, I'll have it. So I have Mallrats. And the other weird thing is, I also already have Mallrats on Blu-ray, which is somewhere where I don't know where I am. That is a quote from The Simpsons, by the way. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. So Mallrats, that was another sort of pickup, I guess. But yeah, Clerks is really good. This is well, Mallrats introduced me to Kevin Smith's View Askew, which is his little sort of cinematic universe, I guess, which is things like Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, Dogma, Jane Silent Bob's reboot movie, which I quite enjoyed. But it also gave us the short-lived animated series as well, which had Alec Baldwin voicing one of the, voicing the villain. And finally, this was, I specifically wanted to pick this up because this has never been released on Blu-ray in the UK. Well, it has been released on Blu-ray in the UK, but 2012, I think, was when this got released on Blu-ray. This is the first time in 13 years that it's had a release in the UK, and this is the 4K. And it is a UK Blu-ray, but it is a German release because the company that has released it is a company called Capelight, and Capelight is a German company. They have previously released Quigley Down Under in this style, in a media book, and this is Red Dawn. Red Dawn is awesome. I have seen this film many times. I have a Region 1 DVD or Region... No, I don't. I have the Region 2 DVD, Red Dawn, I think. But this is a 3-disc release. It has the 4K, it has a Blu-ray, and it has a bonus Blu-ray. And as you can see, it's got the book in it. Now, the German release, obviously, is going to be in German. This is being translated. But you can see that it's the German release because not only does have the BBFC certificate, it also has the FSK. I watched this the other week. It looks amazing. Like, the 4K looks incredible. And the fact that it's in this really cool media book as well, but it has this really awesome cover, which I think was used on a American Blu-ray or maybe American DVD. But it also has this artwork on the back as well, which is also very, very fucking cool. So, that is my update, I guess. So that's my update. Yeah, so, how has everybody been? That's what I want to know. How have my viewers been? Sorry, like I said in the podcast, that I haven't been around. I've had to work on a few things. I'm doing all right. Still looking for a job, but everything's going fine. And yeah, just I will get some more content uploaded. But like I said in the podcast, it's very difficult to come up with ideas for podcasts. Well, not podcasts, but for video content. That doesn't involve me having to do voiceovers and editing. I mean, I've got no problem doing the editing. The editing is fine. But it's writing the script and doing the voiceover that's hard. But I'm going to leave you because this has been 30 minutes. My name is Pedro. This is Pedro's Movie Cavern. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. And I will see you soon. So as usual, I'm going to give you a salute. I'm going to throw up the peace sign. And I'm going to tell you that I am out. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.